Bad association means, for one thing, a devotee doesn't engage in any sinful activity. He follows the four regulative principles. But even bad association is that one accepts this body as the self. So everybody is in bad association, or everybody is in the mode of darkness. Tamas means darkness, because everybody's accepting the body as the self. And they're making no program for getting out of the bodily conception, other than simply trying to make so many temporary arrangements to try to enjoy this body up until the final flow when death comes. So all the energy, all the human energy is simply used for trying to make some kind of an arrangement to minimize the pain and maximize the pleasure, but accepting the body as the self. Whereas a devotee, he's giving up this bad association. He's not accepting this association. Rather, he wants to get free from bad association. He wants to understand the real position, the real constitutional position, that I'm not this body, but my real identity is that I'm part and parcel of Krishna. I'm part and parcel of the Supreme Personality. And therefore, this is the process. Krishna consciousness means the process to get free from all bad association. And to take up good association means to take up association with Krishna. Because Krishna is all good. Because Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha. So also we're Satchidananda Vigraha. But in order to realize our Satchidananda Vigraha nature, then we have to associate with Krishna, because he's giving instructions on how to realize this. Otherwise, we don't find any place that this science is being delineated. No other religion is giving this process to understand the self and the relationship with Krishna. There's no other religion, any other formula that's offering this reward, that I again re-establish my eternal relationship with God. So this is the process for giving up bad association to become Krishna conscious. Of course, we follow in the beginning. One follows four regulative principles and so many things. All these different principles and rules we're following, they're simply meant to bring us to this platform, to follow this one principle of always remembering Krishna, never forgetting Krishna. And of course, when the relationship becomes reestablished, then we'll never want to forget Krishna. Because that relationship is so sublime and so satisfying, and one will never give up that relationship again once we've reestablished it. Now we fall into this material situation. But as we become a little serious, we take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master, and accepting initiation by following his instructions, then gradually we're becoming purified from this bad association of these so many false designations, and again become situated on the real platform to understand my real identity, my spiritual identity. Sometimes I can't remember. Did I read this purport? I read the whole purport. Huh? Yeah, I couldn't remember when I read it. Let's see. Describe that one who has intelligence means that one has good discrimination, and that he has good memory. I don't speak very highly of my intelligence. I can't remember. So there's a lot of, you see, there's so many nice points that sometimes one is praised and sometimes one is defamed. The devotee, these are just all different qualities of a devotee that naturally, by practicing Krishna consciousness, automatically will develop these good qualities that are mentioned here. There's a nice, I know one time there was a nice example. Pagosh gave an example when he was in the airport in New York. Somebody, he was distributing books. So there was a couple that was walking toward him, and so he tried to step out of the way. But she came over and banged right into him. And then her husband came up. He was a big bruiser. And right away he grabbed Pagoshev. He said, "What's wrong with you? What are you pushing my wife? What are you shoving my wife?" And he shoved Pagoshev against the wall. And his wife was standing there, and she grabbed Pagoshev's wig and threw his wig on the floor. So Pagoshev just started chanting. He was chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. He was chanting like this. And the guy was furious. He was grabbing him like that. And he said, "What's wrong with you? And he was shaking. And then Pagoshev just kept chanting. He said, "He didn't know what else to do." He just kept chanting. And finally he shook his head. He gritted his teeth and just threw him, and he walked off and let him go. The devotee's not so much attached. He's receiving sometimes honor. Sometimes, especially you that are going out and doing this, distributing the literatures, you can, more than anybody else, you can appreciate all of these different things. So there's so many nice examples you're experiencing every day. But how one is sometimes more honored and sometimes dishonored. But a devotee becomes, he's not disturbed by this honor or dishonor. He's not, because we're trying to give them also this good association. They have so much bad association. It means, actually, everybody's in the mode of ignorance. Sometimes people are working a little bit in the mode of goodness or passion. But actually, as long as it's material activity, it's all material activity, so it's in the mode of ignorance. So we're trying to give them this good association. So we ourselves, we're blessed. We have this good association. By the causeless mercy of our spiritual master, we have this good association of Krishna. Who could speak such wonderful philosophy as we have in Bhagavad-Gita, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and who can display so many wonderful pastimes? Yeah. We have no information of any personality like Krishna. And what these poor people in the streets, who were the personalities that they've had experience with? Somebody like President Nixon, who gets the most lofty position in the country, and he's so greedy that he's not able to even keep from trying to cheat the government. Who's the old saying that don't bite the hand that feeds you. Even we could see practically if President Nixon would become a devotee and take the renounced life and begin to preach, he would even begin, by giving up that bad association, he would even become glorified in his society. People would become very much impressed, actually, if a great person, even though he might have committed some abominable activities in his material life, but once one becomes a devotee, and actually he becomes sincere and pure, then anybody would appreciate that lofty position. One who would be preaching very strongly, Bhagavad-Gita, how one is not the body, and how one can get free from suffering, and how one can give up all nonsense activities, become purified. So actually, devotional service for anybody in any condition of life, their life would become glorious by becoming a servant of Krishna, by giving up the bad association of material contamination. So many people fall victim. They work very hard to attain some position, and then they engage in some abominable activity, and they lose their reputation. Everything is lost. That's the nature of material efforts. One can work so hard for something, even he makes so much progress, it meets so many goals, but then if he does something, some abominable thing, then the whole thing becomes lost. Whereas in devotional service, there's never any loss. Whatever we have gained, whatever we have done on behalf of Krishna, that will never become lost, and we always pick up there at that same point and start again. But it shows that how wonderful this, when one takes up the association of Krishna, how he becomes free from honor and dishonor. As long as one is not a devotee, if he's not associating with Krishna, then we're always plagued by because we'll have other association. If I'm not associating with Krishna, that means that I'm associating, that I'm an American, that I'm a lawyer, that I'm the president, or that I'm a cheater, or that I'm a thief, or I'm so many different things that we have, because there was a nice article in Bhagavad-Gita a couple of months ago that described this, how we're so much conditioned by at the very time we come out of the womb, everybody's sitting there and they're looking, and they've all got some conception about there's Johnny. He's going to be just like his father. Or he's not going to be like his father. He's going to be like his uncle. Or he's going to do this. Everybody's got their ideas. Everybody's got their meat hooks out there. to get their 2 cents in. See? We're all feeling, we all have some desire. So in so many ways it described in this article was very nice, the conditioning process, how one is gradually conditioning so many different things that one is conditioned into thinking how he's this body, he's a product of material nature. He's not part of Krishna. No, he's a product of this material nature, this society. So then in that way his false ego gradually develops. Whereas if one is a devotee, then he understands in the beginning that he's not this body, his real identity is that he's part of Krishna. And now he gives up this bad association. So much association that simply places one in the bodily concept of life, it places one in darkness, and simply eating, sleeping, sex life, defending, trying to enjoy this body, and eventually everything is finished, it's taken away. So just like the life becomes nothing more than the cats and the dogs. Nothing more than that. Then the human form of life is lost. The great value, the human form of life, the facility there for realizing this relationship that we have with Krishna is destroyed. And then one doesn't know what one's position will be in the next life. By our activities in this life, we don't have any idea of what's going to happen in the next life. That's the position of everybody in the material world. They have no knowledge. They're in darkness. That means that they have no understanding that there's any past, and they have no understanding of the future. Simply this life is the all in all. So whatever happens, I try to make so many arrangements. But just see how precarious all these arrangements are. The rug can be pulled from under us at any moment. Any one of these arrangements, if it becomes disturbed, then my whole consciousness can become disturbed, distressed. But if one is a devotee, then all kinds of material difficulties can come, but he's not disturbed because he's accepting his real position, that he's not this body. So he has nothing to do with all these various material calamities, with these various material distresses. A devotee doesn't have anything to do with these miseries that come upon us. He's understanding that he's not this body. And that way he becomes free. So I'll go on, there's some nice... So the devotee, he's transcendental to this distress, happiness. It's described like, just like even in Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's not described, I can't remember that. But when Haridas Thakur was given so much trouble, they whipped him in 26 marketplaces. And or his sentence was that he was to be whipped in all of these different marketplaces, and so even at the end of this time, when he was whipped in so many places, the men that were doing the flogging, they were very distressed because Haridas Thakur he had not given up his life and he was still alive, and so they were feeling that they were very much distressed because they were afraid of what the magistrate would do to them because they failed to kill him. Because nobody had ever lived through 3 or 4 marketplaces. At that time, Haridas Thakur, he wasn't feeling any distress, but he was concerned about their distress. So that's a devotee, a position of a devotee. Actually, Haridas Thakur went through so much distress in the form of this whipping, but yet at the end of all these marketplaces, he was simply concerned that they were feeling some distress, so he was trying to alleviate them. So he asked them what the difficulty, and they told him, "My dear sirs, that we've whipped you in so many marketplaces, but still you're maintaining your life. Says, what will we do? You should have given up your life a long time ago." Haridas said, "If that is what you desire, then I will give up my life." So he feigned that he gave up his life, and of course they threw him in the river. That was another story, but the idea is that a devotee, he actually can tolerate all kinds of distresses because he's not on this bodily platform. He's situated on the spiritual platform. So he's not attached to the happiness and distresses that that one experiences with the body. But he's always trying to see Krishna everywhere at all times, in all places. That's his determination. A devotee, the more we become fixed up in our relationship with Krishna, the more we understand we're not the body, and the more we become fixed in our relationship with Krishna, then the more we're always trying to taste that relationship. The devotee is always trying to experience his relationship with Krishna. He knows that that is the real treasure of life. That is the real, that's the real gem. So in all circumstances, he's trying to see that how Krishna's mercy is everywhere. And factually, Krishna is always giving the devotee. There's always a sweet reciprocation between the Lord and his devotee. Krishna is always protecting the devotee. It's just a matter of being able to see it. Krishna says that he's equal to everyone. He's not partial to anyone. But to whoever renders him service and devotion, then Krishna says that he is a friend, he is in me, and he is mine. So this is everybody is a devotee of Krishna. There's no question of that, because every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. It's just the devotee is striving to remember that relationship. The devotee is living in that relationship. He's seeing everything as Krishna's energy. So by dint of our devotion, then we become a friend to Krishna. And Krishna's position as a friend, he's always protecting the devotee. Even in the midst of what seemingly is a very distressful situation. But still, because we're devotees, Krishna will protect us. There's no doubt about it. In some way, Krishna's relationship with us is so strong that overcomes any kind of material impediment. Devotional service cannot be stopped by any sort of material impediment. So therefore, we can have faith that Krishna will always protect us in any kind of situation. So that's the potency of devotional service, that it's transcendental to the bodily concept of life, even up to the point of death. Then devotional service is more powerful, because devotional service can even attract Krishna. So that's the strength of devotional service. The devotion can attract Krishna. So if that devotion, even Krishna says, it's not so much the service that's there, but it's the attitude of the devotee, the sincere desire for Krishna's association, and in that way Krishna will protect us. Krishna says in the Gita that for one who does good, he is never overcome by evil. Arjuna. So a couple. No problem. It says there's some more of these different qualities that are discussed. It says that one, of course, that he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him develop them. So, of course, that's our good fortune that we've been able to contact, by Krishna's mercy, we've contacted a bona fide spiritual master or a pure devotee. Because in order to advance in Krishna consciousness, that's the principle is that one has to accept the spiritual master. And just like Krishna, the qualification for a spiritual master is that one is a devotee. This is Krishna revealed. Bhagavad-Gita spoke Bhagavad-Gita to Arjuna because he was a devotee as well as his friend. The qualification of a devotee. So in the same way, Krishna, just like Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, therefore he becomes qualified to also speak Bhagavad Gita, to instruct according to time and circumstance. Otherwise, how is it possible? How is it possible that we could take instruction from anybody else who wasn't a pure devotee? It's not possible, because Krishna can only be known through devotion. So, in order for one to fully understand Krishna, he has to be a pure devotee. If he has any kind of material contamination, then he's not qualified to disseminate the science of Krishna consciousness. He's not qualified to take on disciples, so he must be a pure devotee, of course, and Prabhupada meets all these requirements. So that is our strength, that we've had the fortune to have a pure devotee. And so everything by simply following, by trying to please the spiritual master, by trying to follow the instructions of the spiritual master, then all good qualities automatically develop. Simply by following the instructions of the spiritual master, then we're certain that our success is guaranteed. We have a couple of minutes. Are there any questions or comments? Anybody here?
What's the relationship between the disciple and the spiritual master in regards to the position of the disciple when he becomes pure devotee, when he himself becomes pure devotee? Because we understand now we can't render direct service to Krishna. At the same time, we understand that when we become pure devotee, we can render direct service. Because at the same time, we understand that the relationship we have with the spiritual master is pure, is eternal, and that we render service to him to render service to Krishna. So does it mean that the disciple still has a relationship of service to his spiritual master as a via media to serving Krishna when he's a pure devotee? Or it comes as direct service? And how does that relate with his spiritual master?
Yeah, as far as I understand, even of course, Lord Chaitanya accepted a spiritual master. He was Krishna himself, and he always, before his spiritual master, he took the position of a fool. So, actually, our position before our spiritual master is always that we're a fool before our spiritual master. In other words, the relationship with the spiritual master never changes from the quality of it's the basic relationship is one of awe and reverence. Of course, a Vaishnava in the Mayavadi school, the spiritual master surpasses his spiritual master, because everybody becomes, once one becomes free from this, according to their philosophy, this contamination, he realizes that he's Narayan, he's God. He surpasses his spiritual master. With a devotee, a Vaishnava, we always hold our spiritual master in awe and reverence, and that relationship never changes. And as far as, it's like Prabhupada is always giving credit to his spiritual master, the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. That we're, I know one time he described that he's engaging us in helping him to serve his spiritual master. One time he was speaking, described like that. But he asked the devotees what was our program. I forget how the question was. Did you ever hear that question? But he answered. He said that I'm simply trying to engage you in helping me serve my spiritual master. And the position never, it always remains a position of awe and reverence. And that the service always, as far as I understood, the service always goes through this disciplic succession. As far as our service to Krishna, ultimately it goes through the disciplic succession, far and far. Whatever service we render, it's being actually it's being offered, by us to our spiritual master and so on. Even though we might, in some ways, offering even prayers to Krishna, or offering arti. There are so many different things that it's going through the par and par. Is that right?
Yeah, as far as our present condition, it all goes through the disciplic succession. I don't know about when we're pure devotee.
Yeah.
Can you accept one of Prabhupada's predecessors as your spiritual master, or one of his successors as you get older and things change? But you always have to revere Prabhupada as your spiritual master, even if his two more spiritual masters after him, and you're still alive.
I don't understand exactly.
If right now Prabhupada is my spiritual master,
Yeah.
and in the future there's a successor to Prabhupada, and then another successor, and I'm still, even though there's 2 more successors, I'm still alive myself, then does Prabhupada remain my spiritual master because he is now? Or can one of his successors then become my spiritual master? Or then could I even choose one of his predecessors as my spiritual master?
Well, the thing is, there's different spiritual masters. There's Diksha means initiating spiritual master. Is that right? No, Diksha is initiating, and Shiksha is the instructing. It's like now you accept, the idea is that one becomes a Vaishnava. One of the principles of becoming a devotee is that one accepts a spiritual master, and also it takes initiation from the spiritual master. So just like if you're a devotee, so if you take initiation from Prabhupada, then he's your initiating spiritual master. Be his disciple eternally.
Jai